Hello everyone, Carlos Flores, back on basics. So before we begin this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that you can get notified of any new video that comes on board. Put any topics that you want me to give you my take on, or you want me to make a video on in the comment section. Hit the like button for this video. This video is going to be on, guess what? Personality. Why? Because we're all unique, but we do have a common thread among us. So, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Facebook at Carlos Flores Jr. You can connect with me on Instagram at Back on Basics, or you can connect with me on X at Back on Basics. So, personality. As human beings, we're very unique because our personalities and the way we think and the way we process, right? And the way we do things is based on life experiences, how we're born, where we're born, and many other things that play a role in who we are. So, for example, right, we talked about this before in other videos, the nature versus nurture. That means, right, nature means the environment and how that plays a role versus nurture, which means, that's how we are all born with half of chromosomes from our father, half of chromosomes from our mother, and then it's biological psychology. I mean, that's one of the things that I haven't talked about yet, but eventually I will go into a little bit more detail about. But nature versus nurture is another focus of mine because it does. It's kind of like the saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's the same thing. Is it nature that drives who we are, or is it nurture that drives who we are? And the thing is, it's a combination of both. It is, because a lot of the times, nature and nurture go seamlessly back and forth, and it shapes and it shapes and it shapes and it shapes who we are. And so a lot of the times, it all depends on life events, right? Life experiences, knowing who we are, knowing ourselves, knowing others, knowing your higher power, knowing your goals, and knowing how to get to your goals. Sometimes it's even down to the life experiences that you least expect. We think that our lives, as we go day to day, we think that we're spectators. We're not. We're always working towards figuring out who we are, figuring out how we fit, right, in the bigger picture of society, how we fit in the bigger picture of, of this country, the United States, or El Salvador, or other countries, right? Guatemala or Nicaragua or Mexico or the Philippines or Burma or we are part of a bigger puzzle. And as we go broader and broader, then we see that nature and nurture play an important part in who we are. And so, for example, when I talk about, my experiences with the Civil War in El Salvador, that one is kind of like nature. It is what it is. It changed me. It made me more of an introvert than I used to be. I used to do plays, I used to do dances, I used to perform, I used to do a lot of things. As soon as I was engulfed in the experience from the Civil War in El Salvador, I became more of an introvert. I became shut down. I actually uh, did not take a lot of initiative in being part of the schema. I mean, if it was up to me, still write some of my some of my writings is kind of a little bit gloomy, and it is what it is, right? That's nature versus nurture, and then sometimes, uh, sometimes I just want to be by myself, so I take a step back and I just watch everybody. Sometimes I want to be in the middle of it, and so I'm right in the middle of it, and I'm more of an extrovert, but not for a long time. Remember, watch the videos that I've done before, and so I mean, everything is very, very, very important. When I'm talking to you about these topics are not not as simple as you think. That where it's very intricate. They're very intricate because it's like pieces of the puzzle, right? Of who you are. It's pieces of the puzzle of where you came from. And actually, it's like the saying says, you have to know where you came from before you get to where you want to be. And it's amazing because this is something that I haven't really talked about in detail, but it is what it is. I mean, my experience as a boy in El Salvador with the Civil War made reinforce the fact that I want to help people, reinforce the fact that I want to learn psychology, right? How the mind works, how the body and the mind interact, how the mind and the body balance, how we deal with different things, how we become more of a spectator other than a participant in life. And that's something that we have to choose. That's something that we have to deal with. That's something that sometimes, it's hard to decide what we want to do. And so, I mean, for most of my earlier life, I was actually a spectator. When I was here in the United States, I've said this before, and I was in middle school. I mean, I became so assimilated that uh, and I apologize to the people that I did this to. I used to call people the same thing that people called me, which was wetback, because at that point in the 80s, I mean, it was pretty much not assimilation. It was separation. There was a big difference between separation. And so that also taught me that in order for me to survive, right, survival of the fittest, I needed to assimilate to the mainstream culture. And so I did. And for the longest time, I did not embrace my culture, which was a big mistake. But at that point, I was young, I was naive, and I had so many different experiences that I just thought, okay, if only these people see who I am as a person, then they could see that my intentions are positive, that my intentions are good, that the way that I think, it's unique. And so, but I didn't. I actually assimilated. Uh, it's kind of like the different way of seeing, the United States as a melting pot. I get it, but it's not a melting pot because we're not melted. We haven't melted into acculturation or assimilation. We're still separate, right? Some people see us more like a salad that is mixed together. Some people say that we're like a soup because we're still on the surface. It seems like everything goes with everything, But as you start looking very detailed, you don't. You see the differences. And, nowadays, after studying psychology, after doing all the jobs that I've done, again, I continue to teach psychology for University of Phoenix. It's amazing that you see a lot of things that people have in common. Fear, lack of motivation, and things like not much self-awareness, not much awareness of their environment, not much, and so I can go on and on and on, and it's amazing because we're separate, even though we're different, we're still similar in some ways. There's a universal language, and unfortunately, remember I said this before in other videos, the universal language, the first thing that you think about is the negative aspect of life. Whenever you're in a situation, whenever you're in a first thing, and believe me, I think that way, and I've practiced, and I try, and about right now, honestly, about 50% of the time, I can do that. I can look into it in a more critical way, in a more critical manner, so that way I don't have to think about the negative, and I push through that into the positive. But believe me, there's other situations where I go straight to the negative, because with all of my experience, and that's the plus and the minus of all the experiences that I have, is that because of my age, right? I'm 49 now. Experiences in my education and the places that I worked, starting all over in careers, it's a little stressful, because some people see all of the experiences and things that people do that I can do, and some people feel threatened. Some people feel like, how come this person is being given so many like opportunities that I haven't received? And so, it is what it is, right? It's human nature. It's nature versus nurture. And so it's amazing how psychology works, and that's the reason why I like it, because psychology is very important. Psychology is something that we looked for, and I'm telling you, and that's one of the things that I'm looking at, because it makes you who you are. Your personality is based on the blend, right, of nature versus nurture. Your personality is based on the goods and the bads that you've experienced, that you have seen, that you have gone through. You are the person that you are because of everything around you. Even though some of us are clueless and we don't see the things around us, you are who you are because of it. So why don't we my recommendation is slow down, and take a look at things around you and see what makes you who you are, right? Why is your personality the way that it is? Why is it that you wanna be an extrovert, right? Why is it when you want to be an introvert? Why is it that, like for me, why is it that even at 49, with everything that I have, I still want to be in pro wrestling. I want to get into that ring. That's one of my bucket list items. I just want to get in the ring. I don't have to wrestle professionally, but I just want to get in the ring. I just want to be able to do that at least once in my lifetime. Why? Watch the video that I did on pro wrestling and how I started liking pro wrestling. I mean, pro wrestling is a psychology game. These wrestlers are so keen in psychological storytelling. They tell you a story. They build on it. They based on that story. I mean, some of these people, the way that they bring people, they're like Pied Pipers. It's like they can make you feel sad. They can make you feel mad. They can make you feel happy. They can make you feel good. And so, again, it goes back to personality. So I guess what I'm doing as well at the same time is not only telling you that personality is very important, that, you know, you should learn who you are. The more you learn who you are, the more you're going to get ahead. The more you're going to be able to deal with things that you haven't dealt with. Believe me, there's a lot of skeletons in all of our closets. And the more you start dealing with them, the more you'll be able to say, okay, I can adapt, or okay, I can admit that took place. Civil War for me in El Salvador was a huge thing. There's been other things along the way in my life that have shaped me who I am. I mean, again, 49-year-old male, Hispanic male, bilingual male. I mean, those are just some of the aspects that I can think about. But there's so many different things that I can do. There's so many different things that I can perform. But yet, people still think that I don't perform to a certain level, which is perception. And we talked about perception, right? And so there's a lot of things that are very interesting about psychology and about personality. And so you have to look within you and you have to look outwardly to your environment, because again, it goes back to nature versus nurture. I mean, those two things, when they blend together, they make you. They make who you are. Your experiences make you who you are. The way that you think make you who you are. The ability to speak 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 languages make you who you are. Because those little things that separate us makes us who we are, makes us unique. And so one of the things that I always say is this: the here and now, right? This is where your mind and your body's optimal. This is where there's mind body balance in the here and now. And so you have to take advantage of that, because that's where you make the best decisions. And so there's a lot of things that, you know, it's kind of like attachments. There's a lot of things that are attached, that you're attached to because you haven't processed them. So I dare you, I challenge you to look at your personality, look at the different aspects of your personality and see who you are. Because I bet you that if you start thinking about different aspects of your nature versus nurture, you'll be amazed about the true personality that's in you. The different personality that's in you. Look at me, an extrovert, right? Doing videos, doing like 190 videos, and telling you the things from my perspective. Again, personality is huge. Nature versus nurture is really important. You need to make sure, and I'm recommending for you to study it. You can watch videos. You can watch these videos. You can watch my other ones. I mean, we talk about different aspects of life balance. We talk about different aspects of personality. Believe me, it took me 49 years to realize that what I've learned is just a drop in the bucket. There's so much to learn. There's so much to do. And the thing is, my personality as a giver, as a provider, as a support system member, makes it so that my personality is, I'm going to help you first, and then I'm going to help myself. And so what I've been learning in the last few months that I've been doing these videos is the same thing that I'm trying to get you to learn, which is help people, great, but you also have to help yourself. So that way you'll be able to help people at a more holistic level. And so that way you can get to the specifics as well. So that way you can support people however you want to support them. And so, again, personality is very important. Nature versus nurture, right? It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, it's a combination of both. You are who you are based on a combination of nature versus nurture. Embrace yourself. Accept yourself. Accept who you are. That's the thing. Not until today that I really accepted who I am. And I became so frustrated. I was so frustrated all day today because as soon as I accepted myself, who I was as a 49-year-old male, Hispanic male, did I realize that there's so many people that haven't accepted themselves or haven't accepted the fact that everybody's different. People just want to put you in a box, right? But if you're put in a box, then your personality is not going to come out. So again, don't put yourself in a box. Don't let anybody put you in a box. You're very unique, right? You're very unique. Learn about your personality. What gets you happy? What gets you mad? What gets you sad? Learn about those around you and how that changes the way you think and how that changes the way you behave. Remember, nature versus nurture is very important. You're very unique. You are one of a kind. And I'm telling you this. And as a 49-year-old, at this point in time, I'm finally accepting the fact that I'm one of a kind. And that's the reason why I made this video. So, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that way you can get notified of any new videos that come on board. Hit the like button. Personality, nature versus nurture. Man, I mean, I could sit here and talk to you about this topic for hours, but I'm not. If you want to connect with me, Facebook, Carlos Flores Jr., Instagram, @BackOnBasics, Irks, @BackOnBasics. Till next time, Back on Basics.